Look, I can't help but think that now might be a good time for a little fire and ice. Please
do not know. There's never a good time for fire and ice.
What happens when you mix fire and ice?
Warm water, baby.
It's bubbling, baby. Warm water. Warm water.
Brandon, it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step you to. It's been a full week, 1 week since you looked at me.
Yeah.
And we are back here at Union Drafthouse Saturday. So you know that I heard a bunch of other stuff going on. I was like, what's going on over here? We're over here Saturday's Union Drafthouse. It is noon. They've got cider day going on today. That's $4 ciders. They've got the $2 build your own pizza, which is our favorite thing. We already had a couple slices of pizza. I feel like I got a piece stuck in my throat, so it's probably a bad idea. That's why I normally don't eat, but I was like, you know what? I'm feeling good before the show.
Right.
Let me go ahead and just take a bite of this pizza. I feel like it's going to kick me in the ass.
I love it because I come in, you're garbaging it up already, and I'm like, man, my buddy's eating already. Don't mind if I join him, you know. And I myself am feeling the remnants of it. And maybe it's a better idea we wait till after the show. Our buddy Daver had a few pieces as well, right,
if
Daver?
Joe Madden can talk about cooking his turducken during NFL football, you can have a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
You're in the
Oh,
big
yeah.
leagues now.
There we go.
You're a chef. I bet you make good turducken, don't you?
I have never in my life made a turducken, but you know what? There's a part of me that wants to.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
cool. It's like a smorgasbord after it's like a leftovers grease, right? From Thanksgiving, from what I hear.
I have no clue.
Yeah,
I've never. There was something about it like early on in my youth where I was like, that sounds absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. I was watching a cooking show the other day, and they said they were going to make turducken. I was like, what the hell is turducken? And I guess it has like obviously turkey and like, you know, corn. I don't know. It's like a mixture. It's like no, am I wrong?
Turkey,
It's
duck,
like a casserole.
and chicken.
Is it okay? The three together.
So what they do is they debone the turkey. How do I know this? They debone the turkey, they debone the chicken, they debone the duck, right?
Yeah.
So you lay the turkey out just completely out like that. Then what you do is you get the duck, you put that on top of the turkey, so it's 2 layers, and then you get the chicken right there. And in between each of those layers, you put a little bit of stuffing. And now you've got like all that stuff. Then you put like your fixings and stuff inside it. You wrap it up, you tie it up, and then you cook it.
Dude, that sounds like a grease and a half.
It sounds like it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it does.
And it sounds like a heart attack.
It sounds like it sounds like lasagna gone wild. Only
there we go. Yeah, it's poultry lasagna. I like that idea. There you go. So poultry lasagna is going to be, but there's a part of me now, like as I'm a big fat guy, I'm like, you know what? I really want to try this out.
Yeah, man. I mean, that sounds interesting. And I bet you could do a good job with cooking it.
We'll see.
You know, you can cook.
So dig this if you will, Brandon, okay? Yesterday and earlier this week, I got a whole bunch of like messages from people asking me about UTEP football.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
What can we do to make UTEP football better? UTEP football just kicked off right now. As a matter of fact, at noon, they're in Middle Tennessee State where they always lose.
Usually.
So the expectation should be coming home with an L. Can't spell University of El Paso without an L. So there you go.
That's great.
So there you go, Brandon.
I love it.
What can we do? Because it seems like our guy, Dana DeMille, we're not going to be able to be, wearing our UTEP orange Speedos on the beach with him this year.
Yeah.
And it looks like it might be the last time we see our guy because everyone's calling for his head.
Yeah, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
You feel like it's going to happen?
Yeah, no, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. It's what can we do? Well, I mean, look, here's the thing. If you look at traditionally, like the 5 winning seasons they've had in the last 100 years, it's normally, it's been 2 things. It really comes down to, and I hate to be so brutally honest, but I'm going to be, but it comes down to 2 things. Obviously, a quality coach. If you look at what the coach has done, a la Mike Price or even Dana Dimmel, the year that they made that bowl game, the New Mexico Bowl, or going back to the Gary Nord, the 2000 team, whatever. And of course, having some decent players doesn't hurt. So, I mean, having the decent players is always a challenge because of where we are located. It's funny that New Mexico State can do so much better than UTEP, and they have become a quality program that really you could recruit easily over there, a lot more easier than here, just because you could say, look, we've won 2 bowl games in the last decade, and UTEP has nothing to show to bring kids. So to me, you're going to have to really go out and get a semi-quality coach and maybe a good assistant that's looking to become a head coach somewhere who will bring some ponies with him. And then, of course, if you have a few ponies, it doesn't hurt. That's for darn sure.
I'm taking credit for what New Mexico State did, like this revitalization of New Mexico State football. Because I put it out there a long time ago, right? I think you and I, one of our very first discussions we had was, in my opinion, UTEP needs to go independent.
Yeah.
Schedule 6 easy cupcakes, get yourself bowl eligible, and the rest of it is all, those money games. 6-6, get in a bowl game, whatever happens, happens. But that's
Sure.
all you need to do is get into those bowl games for the opportunity to win those bowl games.
Right.
Whenever you look at the 2 years or the 3 years that New Mexico State was an independent, they were on TV all the time.
Absolutely.
They were getting their shit kicked out of them by Alabama.
At Alabama.
They were being beat up by all these other people, but they were getting money into the program.
Yeah.
They were on TV, which is what all these kids want to be. They don't want to be on whatever network you find UTEP football games on, which is God knows what. What, ESPN Plus? Is that what it is right here?
I'm not sure. I don't know. It's on, though, so the game is on. Could be Plus. I'm not sure.
Also, if I can be a little bit of an asshole right now, whoever the hell runs the ESPN broadcast, it is ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Whoever the hell runs the ESPN Plus broadcast for UTEP, and I know it's UTEP students. It's not like the people doing the commentary or anything like that. It's UTEP people. Let's get that shit together.
Yeah.
Like you're a major D1 university in the 20th largest city in the country, the 76th media market in the country, and we can't get stable damn cameras.
It's absurd. It's absurd because if you want to be affiliated with ESPN, then you better have a good quality broadcast.
To me, that doesn't help matters either, right? Like that's part of the whole thing. Like if you look like an amateur broadcast, it's going to be an amateur product that you're putting out there.
Absolutely.
So for me, if I'm UTEP, like look how nice this one from Middle Tennessee State is.
It's beautiful.
What's the difference between Middle Tennessee State and UTEP? They're the exact same goddamn school.
Yeah, I mean, one's in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and one's here in El Paso, right? I mean, it's Murfreesboro's a nice town, too. It's about 45 minutes from Nashville.
If someone can look this up for me, I guarantee you Murfreesboro, Tennessee has got to be like maybe an eighth the size of this city.
Oh, it's very small. It's a small suburb of Nashville. Yeah, no, I mean, I guarantee you, I bet you $1 to a donut that they don't have more than 200,000 to 300,000. Let's see.
I don't think they'd even get that out of it. But if Nashville, then I can understand like moving in. But anyway, both teams are 3-7 right now. UTEP far from being bowl eligible, and a team yesterday, Brandon.
157K.
157K. We got about
I said 200.
here.
Yeah, there's 8 plus. If you count Juarez and Las Cruces, there's
so there's no reason to me why their product should be so much. I mean, and it's not like a small minuscule. It is exponentially better. Just this little bit that we're watching right here, exponentially better than what we get whenever we get a UTEP ESPN Plus broadcast.
Yeah, no, it's clear. I mean, I can't hear the broadcast, but I mean, I would assume that it's better than maybe ours at times. And the point is that it's watchable. It's watchable. That's the thing.
Whenever you can do something to make the legendary Duke Keith not sound great to where people don't want to listen to it, you're doing a horrible job because that man's voice is butter.
Yeah.
And that's coming from me.
Butter. And UTEP just fumbled.
They
and
did?
Gave the ball to Tennessee.
Oh, that's what UTEP does.
That's what they do. They goof.
Picks up, tips up, baby.
There you go. First turnover of the game for UTEP.
Okay, so you're saying our guy, Dana DeMille, who we interviewed here.
Nice guy.
Right?
Love
Remember you went down there. I put the whole video up on TikTok. I think I'll just refresh that as well. But Brandon went down there, brings Dana DeMille up here. We talk about his UTEP Speedo that we were all going to share.
Yeah.
It's just going to be the one Speedo between the three of us.
Oh, God. Well, Daver's all got room for a fourth. Yeah.
So you're seeing that this is the end of his tenure with UTEP.
No doubt. I mean, you had to at least – everybody was the expectations were through the roof this year, and now that they've completely shit the bed, to be honest. I mean, it's really hasn't gone well, and it's been an extreme disappointment, and they've underachieved, and it's time. I mean, he's had his years here, and he's had some decent years, but look, you're only judged by what you've done lately in football, and unfortunately, it has not gone well this year. So yes, you will see him coaching his last game soon here.
I don't know if I want to see him go yet. And again, like, you know how I am. I don't like the whole we're so quick to fire coaches. Let's get rid of them. Let's do all that. I don't like that carousel of just bringing in whoever the next guy is, because I sit there, I look at the landscape. Who you bringing in, right? Like, who's the coach out there that you want to bring in that can revitalize this area, revitalize football here for UTEP? It's not going to be some young offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, anything like that, right? You have to have someone who's established, who knows how to establish a culture of being able to turn something around. And I don't see anybody like that that's available out there for UTEP to just go and give money to, because the second they get a new coach, that's the highest paid person at that university.
Right.
So to me, it's like, who do you go out there and target? Because if you go out there and you want to get another guy like they have with Sean Kugler, that you pay him in peanuts, basically, then you're going to get the product that Sean Kugler gave us. And it was not a good product at all.
Sean Kugler piggybacked on what was there already, and that's the only year they made that bowl game was, I think it was Price's Players, right? So ultimately he never did much on his own, and he even admittedly had noted that he's a better coordinator than a head coach, and look, some people are better coordinators.
Wade Phillips.
Exactly. Hell of a coordinator, lousy head coach. But with that being said, it would be nice to have somebody who has some familiarity with the program and with the area, but odds are that's not going to happen. I don't see anybody available.
And here's the thing, in this era of football coaching, wouldn't a coach need weapons to be able to divide UTEP into special teams where they can focus on one specific skill?
Well, it's hard to recruit here. It's almost damn near impossible.
I don't buy that anymore. If you can recruit to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, if you can recruit to Las Cruces, New Mexico, you should be able to help recruit here to El Paso as well, right?
We also have good athletes here that I think UTEP overlooks too, that unfortunately go other places. I mean, they do have that Gael Ochoa kid from Pebble who's coming in after next year, I believe, or this year. Anyways, but they do go after some local talent, but they also give up on a lot of local talent. I don't know why. Probably because there's no way in hell they're going to attend UTEP. But hey, man, if you don't offer, they're never going to come.
And that was something that I wanted to talk about as well, right? So whenever we look at the amount of local talent that doesn't come here to UTEP, a lot of it is also because whenever you look at what UTEP offers as far as course curriculum and stuff like that goes, it's nothing that's super impressive. And you and I know this. I don't know how long it was since you graduated from UTEP, but I graduated in 2021, right? So for me, being in this industry, wanting to learn in this industry and going to UTEP and seeing that they're still focused on actual print journalism, which I love print journalism.
Sure.
But who the hell's still reading the newspaper?
Nobody.
Right, Dave? Do you read a newspaper, Dave?
No, it's online for me.
Everybody.
Right?
I don't know anybody that gets away.
Actually, there is one person that still reads the hard copy. Buzz Adams.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It works for him because he can take it into his favorite place of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always a fun place.
Where you get deep in thought.
Yeah.
As we know. But going back to that, like my dad's 93 years old.
Yeah. And he does online.
Yeah. And for me, it's like
it's a dying breed of journalism.
That's what UTEP is offering.
Yeah.
Right. And you look at the facilities at UTEP, and they had that awesome revitalization of the campus itself. It's beautiful. It's looking at all that stuff. But me talking to like people who have recently graduated, someone as recently as last year that graduated, goes to get her master's degree at ASU and then gets told everything you learned at UTEP is inadequate to what we're doing here.
In other words, they didn't transferable? None of the courses transferred?
Well, I mean, she already has her degree. She got enrolled into the master's program, but everything she learned those 4 years that she was at UTEP, none of that comes over as something that she's going to be needing to know while she's at Arizona State. So now she's got to start from the bottom instead of being somewhere else. And that was last year.
That's insane.
And you think about that, like, okay, so what does that UTEP degree mean? I'm not saying a New Mexico State degree means more than a UTEP degree, but whenever you look at the other colleges in Texas, right, you look at like the alumni people that are surrounding things like SMU, like TCU, like even Texas A&M, who is as hot a garbage as UTEP is.
Yeah.
What does that piece of paper mean? What is the alumni base like? What are the boosters who are there to be able to help you out? And what is your network of people going to be whenever you leave UTEP? And if I'm these kids locally here, I don't know if I'm coming here because I don't think there is much of a network here.
Yeah, and that's something to also be said, because when your football career or basketball or any other career is done, odds are you're going to need a degree, or it's nice to at least be obtaining a degree for free while you're going to school. And I mean, look, let's face it. Recently, they were questioning whether it's going to continue to be an accredited university. That's not good. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, obviously they're out. It looks like they're out of the woods, but ultimately, who needs that kind of heat, right? I mean, that's not good, man. That in the end, they say, student first, athlete second. We all know that's a bunch of malarkey. But I mean, bottom line is at least you got to get something out of it in the end to be that student athlete.
Yeah, and let's not wait till the water runs dry on this whole UTEP thing. Dana DeMille, I love him. I got nothing but love for him, and I want to make sure that people understand me on this, right? Because I don't know where I came up or where this whole thing got started, Brandon, where I'm the one that wants people's heads rolling all the time. I don't want to see him go.
Yeah.
But I know that there has to be a change.
Sure.
Because it's not working right now.
It isn't. And you can't just keep losing. You can't just keep under. Last year, we all know they should have made a bowl game, and they completely self-destructed at UTSA the last game of the season. They gave up a huge lead. Okay, it happens, right? 1 year, you understand. 1 year removed from a bowl game, which unfortunately they lost, and they should have won that game. But again, Hardison pulled a Hardison, and they lost in the end, the New Mexico Bowl. And then this year, the way things have transpired, that's 3 years in a row where ultimately you have underachieved, in my opinion. You should have won a bowl game 2 years ago. You should have made another bowl game last year, and you should have done a hell of a lot better than you did 3-7 and maybe 3-8 if they lose again today. So it's time. I love the guy. I think he's a very nice, genuine individual, but unfortunately, niceness doesn't equate to wins all the time, right?
Look at Mike Price, one of the nicest guys in the world.
Yeah, but he was a good coach, though.
He was.
He actually got results because, A, he had the experience, not to say Dimmel doesn't, but B, he knew how to recruit those ponies because here in West Texas, it's damn difficult. But he did all right.
Yes, and we got lucky.
Jordan Palmer?
No.
Or Palmer's?
No, like getting Mike Price.
Oh,
UTEP got
lucky.
They
caught lightning in a bottle.
Yeah,
that was right place, right time.
Yeah, the fact that he, got unceremoniously dismissed from Alabama and was just floating around as like a free agent that was out there. The fact that we were able to get him is amazing to us, right?
Yeah. And he was still, younger as a coach, right? He was really, how many years removed was he from making the Rose Bowl and winning Coach of the Year at Washington State? I mean, that was a coach that you're talking about, not Drew Brees. What's his name? Drew Bledsoe.
There we go.
Bledsoe. But I will say,
too many Drews.
I got your Drew. Got my buddy. Anyway, so anyways, where was I? Why do you make me lose my train of thought? Oh, what I was about to say is that ultimately that was, yes, a hell of a get for UTEP. That was a get they never get in a million years if the circumstances hadn't come the way they had.
Okay, so I'm looking at the landscape, right? Lincoln Riley's on the hot seat. Don't think that UTEP's going to be able to get him. Texas A&M just got rid of Jimbo Fisher. If I'm him, I just got $77 million to not coach. I don't know if you heard about how this contract works, Brandon, but by December 15th, A&M needs to give him $16 million.
Wow.
Then by January 1st, A&M needs to give him another $9 million.
Crazy.
They're paying him $76.7 million not to coach.
That's insane. They really don't want him there, do
No,
they?
they don't. But that goes again to the Alumni Association, the alumni base that A&M has, and all that oil money they got as well. All those
a lot of shekels
they got going
shekels.
for where you can afford to pay $77 million on a buyout for a coach. But then I'm also looking at someone like Chip Kelly, right? Yeah. You have these big names that are out there that are being, kind of just tossed over to the side. So UTEP, I'm looking at you. I'm on bended knee right now. I am asking you, UTEP, go after one of these guys. Go after Jimbo Fisher. Go after Lincoln Riley. Go after Chip Kelly. I can't stand Chip Kelly because he coached the Eagles, but I would still love to see him here. Sorry, Dave. I know I brought up the Eagles.
Not a problem.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would be a fairy tale ending for them ultimately to get a coach like that. I just don't see it happening because you have to have more to offer than what they've had. You had to have more recent success than what they've had. And we know that they have no success to offer. And that's one of the biggest problems is that, and they know what they're facing. Although you bring a coach like that, a name, then recruiting does become easier, no 100%. Doubt. You know what I mean? It becomes a hell of a lot easier. But the problem is that you're probably going to have to hire an unknown, and that's another issue.
Well, to me, that's all that is a lateral move, right? If you're going to get rid of Dana Dimmel and you're going to go out there and hire some coordinator that nobody's heard of, you're going to promote someone within. Name one assistant coach on UTEP. There we go. So if you're going to promote within, if you're going to hire somebody that nobody knows, it's just making a lateral move. If you want this program to get better, you want it to move up, then you've got to make that splashy move. And the thing is all these UTEP, supporters and fan base and alums and all these people out there, you need to flex because you got to put the money forward if you want the program to get better. And I was asked this question, so I'm going to answer it as honestly as I can. You want this program to get better, you need to start making some damn payments to this damn program. Me paying $50 to this thing ain't enough, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to have to extend into it because the only way it's going to get better is if they bring in people who can coach really well, and the only way you get them good coaches is by showing up that dinero, man. That's the only way you're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, because show me the money. That's the way it is in the end. And ultimately, yes, it does come down to some coaching decisions. I mean, we also talk about not having the ponies, but even when you do have the players, if you're not making the right decisions, if you're being too conservative, then you could have all the talent in the world, and that's not a good thing, obviously.
I love how the whole thing is shifted on Dana Dimmel in this year. Dude, my guy, you got my support, okay? The first game of the year against Jacksonville State, Dana Dimmel goes for 2 deep passes to the end zone. on 3rd and 4th down. Everyone, oh my God, he's gambling too much. And then now all of a sudden he's too conservative.
Yeah, let's
What
go back
the
and
hell?
forth. You can't win. He cannot win.
Not in public opinion and not on the field. I'm sorry I had to do it, my guy. But again, I don't want to see him go because I think if you're just going to hire someone that nobody knows, that's not going to be able to recruit. It's a lateral move, if not a step back. So for me, I think you got to ride this thing out. Maybe get some people that can be better recruiters. Maybe that's what it comes down to. Recruit deeper in the city of El Paso. Find something that these kids are really interested in and going to UTEP for and focus at it. And then the last thing that I think that UTEP needs to do is not have morals. If you really want to win, fucking cheat. It's that simple. Look at what Michigan is doing. Look at what all these other schools are doing.
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah.
And it's honest to God true. But the problem is that how much cheating can UTEP do? I mean, they're going to do their best, but I don't know. I mean, at least these other universities that are doing it have a few more talents there. But
So,
yes, good point.
How do the major universities get recruits to go?
They cheat.
100%.
They offer money.
They offer money. You know what else we can offer?
Money.
That thing across the bridge over there that's a fun-ass time for a kid because we know what that was like.
Sure. I never went there.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. I went every
was gonna be
weekend.
like, what the
I
hell,
went
man?
every weekend,
Yeah.
back in high school.
So you get
Viva.
Las Vegas?
No, it was just like Viva. It was fun, dude.
I thought
Every
you were
Friday
singing-
night.
I thought you
Every
were singing
Friday.
Viva Las Vegas over
Every
here.
Friday. That's what I say when I'm having a good time. Viva. Every Friday night. It was a fun Juarez trip.
Now that makes me sad because I've never heard you say that, so it makes me feel like we've never had a fun time.
Well, sure we have. We always have a fun time.
Why are you
But
turning red? It seems like you're
I'm not
blushing a little
turning
bit.
red. I'm just this color naturally. Stop it. Don't agree with him. You're teaming up on me. The Tiptons are teaming up on me. I try not to turn red, but I do it anyways. I don't know why.
Super fair skin.
Thank
See,
you.
I don't have that problem.
Yes, I know. So I hear.
Wow.
Yes, we're
Jesus.
We're
That
different.
light really accentuates your.
I have one suggestion for you, Coach UTEP. What about Stephanie Aragon?
I mean, yeah, if she'd be down for it, right? But so for me, whenever I look at that, I think that'd be an awesome thing, right? Like you bring in someone that's a female coach to coach Major D1, you're getting people on TV, right? Because that would be the thing to me. You need to get that publicity. Then the bigger channels are gonna want to have you on TV just so they can talk about that, just so they can bring you on out there. What is it that UTEP has that would bring anybody right now viewership?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you it's probably us and maybe 4 or 5 other people right now watching this game.
Yeah, not many.
Yeah.
Well, there's no interest because, look, you don't have a quality program. You don't have a quality. Look, no one's there. There's 5 people there.
Well,
Seriously, there's no people there.
but this is the thing that I'm talking about, right? Like it's all about reinforcing that aspect of we are about this school. Whenever I lived up in Lubbock, whenever I was up in that area, Texas Tech was hot dog shit.
Yeah.
But they were on every TV in every damn bar because they bleed for those Texas Tech Red Raiders in Lubbock, right?
Yeah.
We're here at Union Drafthouse, which I love, which is a supporter of UTEP as well. But the main TV is showing Michigan and Maryland right now.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them because that's the game, right?
Sure.
But why not try to cater to those UTEP fan bases and that UTEP fan base that's out there? It's because that fan base doesn't show.
No.
You got to remember that bar that we had right here off of Mason Street, kind of close over to UTEP.
Oh, another-
Spirit of 66.
Another suggestion. What about Keitha Adams? I mean,
Oh.
her basketball team was invincible. Maybe some of those principles could be applied to football.
Well, I mean, I like what Dave was doing here. I feel like he's been watching Ted Lasso, which, by the way, is a great show.
Yeah.
This is a great show. But again, right, like I agree. I feel like, but in order to get a football team around you, you have to have that acumen in football. You have to be able to know.
You've got to know the
football.
game.
And the
You
one
do.
thing is you cannot, as a coach, be their friends. We're looking at what happened to Colorado, right? Deion Sanders out here, look, we're going to bring in all the money. We're going to have all the eyes on you guys. They are now not eligible to go to a bowl game. They won't even make it to the Sun Bowl.
Yeah.
And they didn't just lose yesterday.
Yeah,
They got the shit stomped out of them
Things
yesterday.
have really gone downhill. For
Yeah.
them.
So for me, whenever I'm looking at those things, okay, you there's a fine line that you have to balance whenever you're a coach in college, right? Nick Saban gets the results because he's Nick effing Saban.
Yeah.
But whenever you look at all these other coaches that are out there, the Lincoln Rileys, okay, you had a nice flashy year. Where's the substance? Now he's on the hot seat at USC, who's about to move to the Big Ten because they know that his offense and his lack of being able to have defense is not something they want in Big Ten country, right? Because that's a defensive type of school that we're all about running the ball, not about throwing the ball, right? what are you going to have that's going to sustain? And right now, I think the biggest issue that Dana DeMille faces is the fact that he doesn't have an identity right now. He came here to UTEP as a guy that was a pass-first offense, right? Brought in Mike Canales, brought him in as an offensive coordinator. A year into it, fires him because everyone said, oh, UTEP's offense is limited. Who was a quarterback for UTEP back then? It was Ryan Metz.
Yeah, Opie.
And he had to retire because of all the concussions and stuff, right?
No.
Historically, UTEP hasn't been able to get that quarterback other than a Jordan Palmer, that outlier, right, that's able to get you over the hump. That's where it all starts, is at the damn quarterback position, and they don't seem to be able to get the quarterback.
Well, it's difficult. I mean, again, there's always kids that have prosperous abilities maybe that are coming in, but quickly they don't have anybody else around them, so it makes it challenging. There's no development. There's no consistency. The defense is never consistently good from year to year. Their secondary is struggling. Their offensive line is struggling. Maybe one year they'll have a decent running game. The next year they'll have a few good wide receivers, but then if anybody's decent like that Cowan kid, they get the hell out of Dodge. They're not going to be here very long.
Yeah,
you know it as well as I do.
And that's the thing.
Why would they be?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So if you're going to be UTEP, you have the transfer portal readily available to you.
You're going to leave. Unfortunately.
Like to bring them in, though, right?
Yeah.
I think you're going to have to loosen up some of the standards here. That's what I'm talking about whenever I say you got to start cheating a little bit if you want to have a winning program. First, you got to build the culture.
Yeah.
The way you build the culture is maybe you got to bend the rule a little bit.
Shticks.
Yeah.
A few shticks here and there.
And then once you get that going, you can say, okay, now we're on TV all the time. Now we've been to a bowl game and won. It's been, 56 years?
Since 67. Is that, I mean, your math's better than mine.
Yeah, so 56 years.
Florida State, yeah.
Between winning bowl games. And the bowl game they won was a home game because it was the Sun Bowl.
Right, doesn't even count.
So for me,
it was Burt Reynolds there, though. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds and Lee Corso.
But you know what? It's like, again, it just goes back to it's tough to be a UTEP fan, man. I mean, and it's my alma mater, your alma mater. But damn, man, I mean, they've had some good, shows and performances in bowl games in the last 20 years, let's call it, but they just can't get that damn elusive win. I mean, how hard is it? And apparently for them, it's nearly impossible, because I don't know, I'm trying to remember, were you at the New Mexico Bowl a couple years ago when they lost at the end? I'm trying to remember who they played. It was like, 2021, 22, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they lost. They were driving, and Hardison threw a pick, and they goofed, And I can't remember for the life of me who they played, But long story.
Yeah. But you also have to remember, like during that game, they ran that trick play that everyone fell in love with, the tight end up the seam, where it looks like you're going to run in with the tush push and jump up and pass it. Tight end up the seam. It was all over ESPN, and then there's zero capitalization on it.
Yeah, it's just a damn shame because close counts and horseshoes and hand grenades. I've said it many times. You got close to winning a bowl game, but that's not the same thing as we won the Little Caesars Bowl or something, whatever the hell the NMSU won last year in Detroit.
But even then, even if you do win those, and let's face it, there's 41 bowl games, so now we got to have 82 teams. You can't be one of 82.
It's ridiculous, and they're saying New Mexico State, they're playing for the CUSA championship against Liberty. I mean, this is a team, they're 1 year in CUSA. They're playing for the championship, and they're for sure in a bowl game, probably the New Mexico Bowl.
And you know what really changed the fortunes for them? Their quarterback.
Yeah,
because that is a game-changing quarterback.
Yeah, you need a quarterback like that. And how come they can get a guy like that? How come they can, again,
exactly.
It goes back to
Las Cruces.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They got a 30,000 seat stadium that's older than dirt.
It's a beautiful stadium.
It's cool. I mean, as is the Sun Bowl, though.
Yeah.
But I mean, you mean to tell me you can't get at least a semi-decent mobile quarterback here, and you're not going to play musical quarterbacks because of injuries? Because again, they have no damn offensive line.
Well, and then that's also the thing, right? It's not always because of the injuries. It's also because they just don't. How can I say this without sound like a jerk?
But remember, this is your podcast, so you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
David.
Thank
I love you.
I think what it is that UTEP, because they have that pressure of we haven't won shit since God knows when, right? They genuflect at the fans whenever the fans start complaining about stuff.
Yeah.
Get this guy out of there. Get the quarterback out of there. Do this and that. Look at that. Blah, 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 blah. They're too quick to pull the trigger, to pull, the rope that they give a quarterback who's trying to learn is so small. That leash is so small that the second they make a mistake, they get them out of the game. The only way you learn in football is by making damn mistakes and overcoming, learning what you messed up on, and then getting better at it. It's kind of the issue that Miami is facing, the University of Miami is facing with Tyler Van Dyke, right? The guy cannot throw against 8 dropped back, so you don't rush him, right? But the second they drop 8 back in the defense, they bring in another quarterback, don't allow him to actually learn and get the reads, and then the coaches aren't helping him get the reads. So how do you expect him to get better?
Even in the NFL, Dak Prescott had to go through the same learning curve.
Yeah.
And look at how much he's getting
And
paid.
he sucked last year. He threw more picks than touchdowns, and he came back, and it looked like, hey, man, we're all shitting on Dak. Dak's done. His better days are gone. But this year, people are starting to say he's the best quarterback in the NFL. And
now he's raised the bar.
Well,
because he's learned.
But they've also changed the offensive scheme. I mean, people were also bitching and moaning that, you're going to lose your coordinator, and what are you going to do? And then, you have McCarthy calling plays. It ain't such a bad move now, the running game. But anyways, point is that he's elevated his game. He's like our buddy Davis says, he's raised the bar, and he's playing 100 times better than he did last season.
I got a weird stat for you, and I apologize that we spent 30 minutes talking about UTEP football. Holy hell. But it was a good 30 minutes. I think we were able to vent and get things off our chest.
It was a good purge.
There we go, right? Weird stat for you, Brandon.
Yes.
Dak Prescott, as of this last week, where he threw for 404 yards in 3 quarters, by the way, where he threw for 404 yards, got his 9th total 400-plus yard game as a Dallas Cowboy.
Wow.
Troy Aikman, Roger Staubach, and Tony Romo combined have 8.
That's insane. Wow. That's, that's
5 of those are Romo.
Yeah. No, I was going to say that statistic speaks volumes. And keep in mind that unfortunately they don't have a great ground game. It's been all through the air, and Pollard hasn't really been that starting running back we thought he was going to be. But they have so many weapons, and Prescott is playing exceptionally well. And the bottom line is, though, again, are they going to be able to beat that good opponent? Not just doesn't count when you play the Giants. They should romp over Carolina. They should beat Washington. Are you going to win? How's your December going to be? That's what I want to know. Against now it seems like kind of a mediocre Buffalo Bills team, a good Miami team, a great Philly team, and finishing against Washington.
Can I talk about Buffalo real quick?
Yeah.
Because I believe Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
No doubts.
I hate seeing this stat where they keep bringing up that he had X amount of interceptions, right? Dak Prescott's amount of interceptions, I bring that up because it was 17 in 12 games. That's an insane rate. You're throwing more than 1 interception per game in what you played, right? So he led the league in interceptions despite missing 5 games. I'm okay with it. You look at where they put Josh Allen, they highlight this. Last year, Josh Allen had 14 interceptions. Josh Allen had 14 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes had 13.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like that one little itty-bitty thing right there, right? They go back a couple of years ago. It's another year, 2021, where Josh Allen had 13 interceptions. Tom Brady had 14.
Yeah.
Mahomes had 13. And Joe Burrow had 12. We're talking about these guys being the greatest quarterbacks that are out there. So he's on par with what they're doing.
He is. He just has to have success in the postseason.
Exactly. And I think that's what it comes down to.
That's what you're
but whenever you look at what they have him surrounded by in Buffalo, the only offensive weapon –
I think he's got
the only offensive weapon he has is Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis is garbage.
What about that tight end? I like him.
You like him so much you don't know his name.
Nah, it starts with a K.
You're talking about Dawson Knox, and it's not even him.
He's hurt. I'm talking about the other kid, Kincaid.
His name, and he's not that good either.
Well, look.
So this is what I'm getting at, right? So we're quick to jump down the throat of Josh Allen because of the way that they lost on. I want to say it was Sunday or Monday, right? The terrible way that they lost that game. 12 men on the field after a missed field goal. My God, right? Like you talk about a
horrid, right?
But it wasn't Josh Allen, right? Like, yes, he threw those 2 interceptions, but that one interception was literally in Gabe Davis's hands, and as he turns, gives it to the defender.
Yeah.
How are you going to blame that on Josh Allen?
No, you can't. That's definitely not something you blame Josh Allen on. But again.
But it goes on his stats.
Well, of course it does. I mean, it doesn't mean he's not a good quarterback, though. But again, it's what have you done in the postseason? And they always goof in the postseason, always.
I called him in one of my group chats with James Steele and Pat Costello, our producers over at ESPN. I called him AFC Dak. Because I swear, like, he doesn't have as much talent. I feel like if Josh Allen was on the Cowboys, that's a Super Bowl contender by far.
I mean, again, it's rough. I mean, because as close as they've gotten, they always fall short. Like the best chance they had was losing that AFC title game to Buffalo.
But
to Kansas City.
I
Remember that
also found this out. That wasn't the AFC title game.
That's right. It was the second
It
round.
was a divisional round.
That's right.
We just crowned that as the AFC title game.
Yeah, because then they went on to play Cincinnati, didn't they?
Yeah,
And they
Cincinnati
lost to
goes to the
Cincinnati.
Super Bowl. Yeah,
That's right. That's
It was insane to think about that. All of us were like, "Yeah, this game
so
was for the
Buffalo
Super Bowl."
hasn't reached so that means Buffalo hasn't reached the AFC title game then since like the 90s,
Yeah,
right?
since '92 or '3, whenever they
No,
lost to
it
the
was like
Cowboys.
95, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah,
I don't
'cause
think it's that soon.
They made 4 years in a row, remember? They made
Yeah, but it was
90
like the early '90s. It was
No,
like
I mean,
90, 91, 92, and '93.
Maybe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
'Cause
Dallas
Dallas
played
beat
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see?
Yeah,
I
you
know.
Broken old clock still right twice a day.
Yay. Okay, but looking at, the whole football picture, and it's crazy to think this, Brandon, I think we've only got, 6 more weeks of regular season football, 7 weeks possibly.
Week 11.
We're somewhere around there, yeah. It's going by so fast. I don't want it to end.
It's flying by.
Do the Cowboys actually have a shot here? Because I know that they've got these cupcake games. They got Carolina up next tomorrow. Then on Thursday, they got Washington, which should just be a boat race. You got 3 games here for the Cowboys to get back onto that stride. And then, like you said, we're going to go into December and see what they're made of. Buffalo, I'm not trusting that team. That defense is bad. They don't have a running game. And other than Stephon Diggs, which all you got to do is just put 2 on him and you don't got to worry about anybody else, they're making Josh Allen force balls into certain things, and you cannot be perfect in the NFL. Does Dallas have an opportunity here? Because I'm looking at that could be 4 games out of that list that we see where it gets them up to 10 wins, maybe 11 wins, 12 wins. Do they have a shot of making any damage in the playoffs?
Of course. I mean, they do. They do. I mean, they have a good enough team to where it would be stupid to say that they don't have an opportunity to
Defense, especially.
Yeah, their defense is very good. It really is. It's one of the best in the league. And the fact is that Philadelphia has a very challenging schedule over the next month. Dallas has a easier schedule, so they could essentially be playing for the division in December when they meet again. And obviously, it goes without saying that you want to be a better seed for home reasons, to be at home and to be even the number 1 seed. So yes, they could definitely. Now, do I see them going to Philly or going to San Francisco and winning? Not necessarily, unfortunately. I mean, I think it's possible, but geez, man, I mean, San Francisco looked very good against Jacksonville last week, but their defense, man, you add Chase Young, that really, really is something, man. That they're scary. They're scary. So, look, anything can happen, especially in the playoffs and especially in one game. I would like to finally see this team, make a run and have it together because, look, your window is so narrow. Your window is so closed or so close to closing in the NFL, man. It doesn't last very long.
That's what I was about to ask, too. It feels like the window for Buffalo is closing.
No doubt. I think so. I agree.
It's insane because this –
Von Miller's long in the tooth.
Yeah.
And Allen's only going to be healthy for, and
well,
for
not
so
just that,
long.
they're so constricted again with salary cap.
Yeah.
Like that's their biggest issue. And I was thinking about this, right? We talk about Dak, we talk about Josh Allen, we talk about how bad they are and all that stuff. If you're the Cowboys, there's maybe 4 quarterbacks you're taking over Dak Prescott in this league, and it's going to be Mahomes.
Yeah.
I think maybe Josh Allen. I think maybe Joe Burrow. And then I can't think of another person that you would take over. Because I don't know if Dallas is better with Jalen Hurts. I just think that offense works really well with Jalen Hurts. But I feel like you put Josh Allen or Dak Prescott in Philadelphia, that makes them a more dynamic offense. Because they can pass the ball a lot better than what Jalen Hurts can.
Yeah, he's just got that mobility.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that mobility. He's got that over them.
But I feel like what makes Philadelphia unstoppable is that tush push. You telling me Josh Allen at 6'6" isn't going to be able to get that with as strong as he is and how big of a runner he is?
I love a tush push.
I know you do.
I really do.
We know. You're sweating right now thinking about it. Mouth watering and everything. Our guy Tommy Cananto saying, what's good, Tip? What's good, Iceman? We're hanging out over here at Union Drafthouse. We got Iris as our waitress today as well, so that's always a fun time. They've got the $2 build-your-own pizzas along with the $4 ciders because it's cider day. As a matter of fact, later on today, Brandon, I'm going downtown. We're going to walk around, do all that stuff, and we're going to watch the parade of lights and all that's going on as well, which I always remember. I thought that used to happen like after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I was going to say
that. It's getting earlier and earlier.
Yeah, next year it'll be Halloween.
Hey, And then the year after that, it'll be in August.
Right, July. They just mix the 4th of July in that.
They never turn the lights off. January 1st, we have the parade again.
This is phenomenal.
That's the way to do it. All right, but again, looking at the football landscape, everything that we've got going on in the NFL, Brandon. Looking at what San Francisco has right now, defensively, being able to get Trent Williams back, being able to get Deebo Samuel back, getting healthy. It's crazy to think this, but their only weakness is a guy that we all love, which is Brock Purdy.
Sure. He's pretty good.
They have to be the favorite right now in the NFC, even over Philadelphia.
I feel that defensively they definitely have that edge. I still think Philadelphia is the best team in the NFC. I really do. When everybody says, well, they haven't played their best football yet. I mean, it really, you can argue they haven't, but I would definitely take Philly over San Francisco. But who knows how hot San Francisco could end up getting down the stretch with the acquisition of Young and Purdy playing good. I mean, they're just absolutely loaded. Again, this is one of those teams where you think if they don't make it this year, when are they going to make it? They've had so many chances to make it, and they've fallen short over the last 3 or 4 seasons. So, yeah, I mean, San Francisco is definitely as good as anybody in the NFC, without question.
Who's a team that you're kind of disappointed in? Like in the NFL, they came in with all the hype, and you're kind of disappointed in because you had drank the Kool-Aid before the season started by saying Buffalo ain't that good.
No.
You had Buffalo missing the playoffs, so I'm going to give you your flowers on that. I was wrong. I thought they were going to be good. They're bad.
Yeah.
Who's the team that you're disappointed by?
I think the Chargers are kind of disappointing me. I thought that bringing in, obviously a seasoned veteran coordinator, I think it was going to make a difference. I love the Eckler, even though Eckler's been out for several weeks. And, of course, they have, to me, the proponents, the parts to be a decent team and to be able to compete, but they just haven't lived up to their expectations. So I would probably say San Diego Superchargers has been one of the biggest disappointments for me, because I really did feel that Calvin, or that Moore rather, was going to be that missing link that they needed to get their them over that hump, but they haven't done much this year. They've been mediocre.
But they also lost a big target and wide receiver. I want to say it was Keenan Allen that they lost.
Oh no, Allen's still there.
Oh,
it's the
Mike
other
Williams.
kid. Williams.
So they lose a big dynamic wide receiver. That kind of hurts the team as well. But yeah, they're one of the
they haven't been that good. Green Bay's been really disappointed, but they lost Rodgers.
I mean, no one should have had any expectations for Green Bay.
With love.
Yeah.
The Jets, but see, they lost their quarterback. If they had Rodgers, then that would be a completely different swan song, especially with that defense.
For me, and it's a team that did lose their quarterback as well. What is the Giants?
Yeah.
Even with Daniel Jones, they look like absolute dog
terrible.
shit.
Absolutely
so
terrible.
Whenever you look at them and all the money they paid for people,
they made
people
the playoffs
they brought
last year.
Yeah. And they didn't just win the playoffs.
They won a game. They won at Minnesota, right? Don't you know?
So this is a team that everyone thought was going to get better, move forward, do all that. Same thing with Washington, right? Washington made a bunch of moves. Everyone thought this was going to be a team like that early on in the season. Everyone thought there could legitimately be 4 teams from the NFC East in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now both of those teams, Washington and the Giants, have just fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I mean, at very least, Washington, you have Sam Howell, who I think is a decent quarterback. You can build around him. I
still don't get why you trade Chase Young, though.
Yeah, that was dumb, but they became sellers by the break, and that's that when you're doing something like that, you're thrown in the white towel, unfortunately. But right now the East is clearly that's Dallas and Philadelphia. That's their division to win, and I still think Philly's the favorite, but these next few games are going to tell us a lot.
Joshua Rojas saying the 49ers defense lacks a cornerback. That's a big thing too, right? You can get them. And the thing with San Francisco is if you get a lead on San Francisco, Purdy's not the guy that can bring them back. He's really good at managing with the lead. He cannot orchestrate a comeback. We've seen that could be his weakness as well. Tommy Cananza saying Philly has played their best football. It's week 11, for God's sake. They are who they are.
They are who we thought they were.
Josh Rojas also saying Philly is winning games with their solid run game, regardless if it's a blowout or a close game. And then let's talk about the hype of the Bears. Josh Fields is a bust. Yeah. I don't know if he's a bust. He's got some injuries going on. He's got like that
dislocated
thumb. Whenever he's in, he's a Jalen Hurts 2.0.
Yeah.
He's a dynamic quarterback who can run the ball, and we've seen whenever he's going, he can get it going, right? Like he's got a cannon. Name one wide receiver in Chicago.
Well, there's more who was brought in.
DJ Moore's 140 years old.
Well, he had that game where he got like 4 touchdowns or whatever. That was against Washington.
You know, there was always a joke that I would hear like whenever I was at ESPN, and they talk about these players where you get that one game a year that makes you say, "Damn, that's a good player."
Yeah,
and it was always Will Fuller the fourth.
Oh yeah,
because you would get the Will Fuller
from Houston,
game,
right?
Where he would get a 200-yard game, 2 tutties, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I got to get this guy on my fantasy team.
You get him in fantasy, and then he's a bust the rest of the year.
3 points the rest of the year.
That's DJ Moore.
Yeah, I mean, he has had, but then again, he hasn't had a quarterback for most of the year. But they were learning each other. But I still think DJ Moore was a good addition. But again, Chicago's Chicago, man. Chicago's just horrid. You can't expect much from them, and it's a shame. I don't think Justin Fields is going to be there next year. I think they'll have a top pick, and I think they'll have obviously a couple great picks within the first few picks because of how things have transpired. And I think they'll go after a good quarterback. It's supposed to be a deep class again, and unfortunately, Fields hasn't worked out in Chicago at all, in my opinion. I think it's time to part ways.
I was going to ask about surprises because there's a team that I'm surprised by, but I shouldn't be surprised by. I think everyone's going to say Houston being as good as they are, CJ Stroud being as good as they are. That's the most surprising team we've seen. But the team that I was surprised by, Brandon, is Baltimore. I don't know why I was surprised by Baltimore, but they are an absolute juggernaut.
Yeah,
they are a buzzsaw, just cutting right through teams. Right now, maybe the Mark Andrews injury is going to be something that they got to try to navigate. But Lamar Jackson just brings a difference. He's such a difference maker on the field. You got Odell Beckham Jr. You've got a great running game as well, an amazing defense. And it seems like no one's really talking about Baltimore the way that they should be talking about Baltimore because they are, in my opinion, I don't want to say the best team in the AFC because I still think that's Kansas City, even though they're kind of falling back, but they're really goddamn good.
They're excellent. And he took care of business on Thursday night against Cincy, blew them out. But I mean, Baltimore, Jackson's having a great year. Their defense is solid. It's hard to find any holes. They have a plethora of good running backs. Edwards has been blowing it up the last month or so. For me, I would say the Browns. I coming into this year, I did not expect they were going to have the number one defense in the NFL, but their defense has been keeping them afloat. And of course, to me, a huge disappointment has been Watson. He's out now for the year, and he played like 2 or 3 decent games. But PJ Tucker, is that his name? The kid that came in, they're not even starting him this week.
PJ Walker.
Walker. They're starting the other young man that looked good, whatever, in game 1 or something. But I don't know. I just, it's a surprise because they looking really good even without a quarterback half of the year. So I think I would say the Cleveland Browns, and if they only had a quarterback and they let Dobbs go, those schmucks, they let Dobbs go in the preseason. Imagine if they had him now. He's playing great for Minnesota.
But they still have, like you said, a great run game. I believe Amari Cooper's still a number 1 receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, he's good.
They've got David Njoku, who, again, is like a Will
Ford's
Fuller.
done a good job taking over for Chubb.
And
that's
got
another
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
so, I mean, they've got some things working for him there. But you're right. It seems like the Watson injury, and it's insane to think about this. He's played in 12 of a possible 56 games for Cleveland.
Yeah, what a bust.
He's made about $20 million or $12.8 million a game.
Yeah, they goof big time. And I mean, look, it's all hearsay, it's all retrospect. Hindsight's 2020. But how do you let a Dobbs go? Who goes to Arizona and does some good things with not a lot of talent, and now he's completely turned the Vikings around. They look sharp, man. He looks, like one of the better quarterbacks. He's a streamer the rest of the year, man. And wait till they get Jefferson back.
Joshua Rojas saying Dobbs is this generation's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I love him.
We had to have somebody.
I picked him up. I picked him up on my fantasy team.
You're welcome.
I know. Thank you. No, I like the kid. He can run too.
Yeah.
Isn't he the second leading running back in terms of yards?
Well, quarterback as far as
running back. Anyways, long story short, he looked good last week when they beat a good Saints team. Well, a Saints team with a good defense. Let me reiterate what I just said.
Tommy Cananza saying it sucks when you draft a quarterback top 10 and then start looking for another one 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah.
He said he's glad that his team finds undrafted and 4th round quarterbacks. Obviously, Tony Romo and Dak Prescott, right?
It works.
But that's the thing that I keep thinking of, right? Like you look at the Arizona Cardinals. They got rid of Josh Dobbs. They were able to trade him because what they have to do right now is look at Kyler Murray and see if he's the future. They had a first round draft pick in Josh Rosen, which I want to say was number 8, right? The next year, they get the number 1 overall, which is Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
And we're only 4 years removed from that. And now you're looking for another quarterback?
Murray
possibly?
comes back after being out from last December and looked good last week, and I'm looking forward to that Houston game because I think he's going to have a good game. It's a good game set up for him, and I really like what he did last week. He looked pretty damn sharp for being out for a year.
How bad does Carolina wish they could have drafted C.J. Stroud?
Oh man, dude.
You passed on C.J. Stroud, and that guy looks like he's the truth.
He's good. He's really good. He's good. He's a good game manager. He doesn't make a lot of goofs. He doesn't have a lot of great weapons, but he's been able to make Houston a contender, a divisional contender. And my goodness, can that kid throw? I mean, he's the real McCoy. He's better than Fields. He was his backup, as you said.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's better than Fields. I'd rather have him over Fields any day of the week.
And I'm trying to kind of bolster up my argument here. I'm like, okay, well, name a wide receiver that Fields has had. Name a wide receiver that Stroud has had, and he's still out there making. But Nico Collins. He's amazing. I have him on one of my fantasy
I like
teams.
Tank Dell.
So like
that other kid who's emerged too, who's I think he's going to be out this week, but he's been good. They've had some kid. Oh, and their tight end, the kid from Dallas Schultz. He's been good for them. So they've got, and their running game. Singletary has really taken over for Pierce, who's been a joke this year, unfortunately. So they've done some good things in Houston, and they have some great things to look forward to.
So the question was asked, and you kind of brought it up as well, about the Texans being in contention against the Jaguars for that, right? It seems like they've got two really good young quarterbacks in the AFC South that would be able to kind of lift these franchises up forward. We're watching Tennessee start falling back right now, but although I've got faith in what's his damn name? Oh, look, he's ordering one.
I'm ordering club soda. It's just club soda with lime. Thank you.
Can I get the Alzheimer's Association beer? All right, because I want to give a little bit of love to my friends over at the Alzheimer's Association. Last week was a walk to end Alzheimer's at the El Paso Zoo. You know as well as anybody, Brandon, that I'm all about supporting my friends over there with the West Texas chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. You come on out here to Union Drafthouse. You order the beer on special from Marble Brewing out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and a certain percentage of that beer is going to go over to the West Texas chapter of the Alzheimer's Association as we're trying to end Alzheimer's.
And they had the walk last week at the zoo, which was a very nice turnout.
Yes. And then Joshua Rios also going on saying C.J. Stroud is going to break the Ohio State curse. Yeah. Ohio State has never really had any really good quarterbacks come out of the NFL, right? And he is legit.
He's the real McCoy. Next year,
how is he the backup?
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's a great question. Shows how deep they are. Next year, he's a top 10 fantasy QB. That's my prediction.
Oh, I think this year.
Yeah, no, I mean next year.
There's a legitimate argument to be made for C.J. Stroud to not just be the rookie of the year, but to be the MVP.
Yeah.
The kid is phenomenal.
He's great.
And that doesn't happen very often.
He's phenomenal. Houston should build a wall around him. We don't know a wall. It's huge.
Tommy Carranza saying that he traded Kyler Murray early in the season. He had a choice of Desmond Ridder or C.J. Stroud, and he took Desmond Ridder. Oh, what a mistake
and he got rid of Murray. Murray's going to be a good streamer these last few weeks. Murray's. I picked up Murray about a month ago, and I'm happy. I'm okay with it.
Why?
Why? Because he's going to be decent. He's going to get you some points.
Well, no, like Murray, I get, but picking up Ritter.
Oh yeah, that's a schmuck move.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud waiting.
Sorry, sir, you deserve to lose. I'm a dick. I'm terrible.
In one of my dynasty leagues, I drafted Josh Fields. I saw him play a couple of games. I was like, yeah, I'm dropping this.
Dude, I drafted him.
And here I am, like a jerk, making an argument that Josh Fields could
I'm
be
a
good.
schmuck. I drafted him. I went high on him on my non-PPR, and he just completely screwed me. I ended up trading him for guess who? Deshaun friggin' Watson. That's the stupidest damn move in the world. So I deserve to lose too, man. I second that.
Tommy Carranza saying, yeah, he knows that he effed up, and it was week 2 in his defense.
Dude, we all F up, especially in fantasy. That's what the F is for, right?
I guess, yeah. That's what it stands for. It's got the 2 F's because you're getting double F.
Yeah, you're getting double F to the shtum guts, God almighty.
Okay, so as far as the stuff goes with Houston, with Jacksonville, we're looking at those two teams on the come up right now, right? It seems like the one division that just seems to be floundering right now in all of football is the NFC South.
Yeah.
I like Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield is the truth. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the best team in the NFC South, better than Atlanta, better than Carolina. Yeah. Maybe slightly better than what we get from New Orleans, especially if Derek Carr is going to be hurt and you have to rely on famous Jameis, which I love me some Jameis Winston.
Famous Jameis.
Whenever he it's the old argument where they were like, well, Jameis, you led the league in interceptions. You threw 30 interceptions.
30 touchdowns, too.
And he replies back with, I also led in yards.
You're right. That's great.
Set an NFL record for 5,000 plus yards.
Who doesn't love famous Jameis? He's the
love
greatest. Yeah, that division.
Our generation's Brett Favre.
Right. Yeah. Except Favre won a ring. Anyways, he ain't going to win no rings. But no, I think, Tampa Bay is clearly the best team in the South. Yeah. Baker Mayfield, good for him. Having something go there and having a rejuvenated career there potentially. So
Josh Rojas saying that he knows it's the second year, but Sam Howell looks really good.
Very good.
And considers this to be his rookie season. I mean, I considered it that way as well.
Yeah.
I cannot stress how important it is, like how different it would be for quarterbacks if they could sit for the first year.
Yeah.
Right. Especially after getting drafted. Maybe not someone like a CJ Stroud, because that dude is just gifted, right? But look at someone like a Zach Wilson. If he had someone that he could have learned from. Because if you look at Zach Wilson whenever he's flowing, the dude is good. Like you can see the glimpses of excellence that he can do. I didn't realize this until like he had to throw the Hail Mary a couple of games ago. He's got an absolute cannon too. Yeah, that was a 65-yard Hail Mary through the air with like ease. Just a flick of the wrist and it's gone, right?
It was beautiful.
But how important is it that these guys get to actually sit back, learn the game, like Patrick Mahomes?
It helps.
Learning from a guy like Alex Smith.
Right? Yeah, it helps.
You learn and like you actually get to continue your career. Whenever you get thrown right into that fire,
it's brutal.
It's hell.
You're setting up for failure potentially.
And then if you do succeed, if you are a guy like Dak Prescott that does succeed, or even a Carson Wentz, right, and you don't sustain it, you're out of the league like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, gone like a fart in the wind.
Or you could be Josh Rosen and just never get an opportunity to even play the game. Be drafted, get that guaranteed money, and then
you just hold a clipboard the rest of your career and never get hurt.
Well, he's not even that anymore. I remember the last time I saw Josh Rosen in an NFL uniform was during the pandemic, and they had to have those three quarterbacks, right? So he was the emergency quarterback for the Buccaneers, and the Bucs are playing a game. And there's no one in the crowd, and they pan, and they're like showing how the crowd is empty. There's one person, and it's Josh Rosen sitting in his uniform at about the 50-yard line watching the game like this. He was 3 years in the league, man.
Oh, boy, you got to love it. You got to love it. That's funny.
I also found out something interesting today as I was watching football, college football. It was BYU and Oklahoma. BYU to me is like you think about it, it's a religious school, it's a Mormon school. They have their first Jewish quarterback.
Oy vey!
I was surprised by that. Like I didn't expect that at BYU of all places.
Well, maybe he became Mormon. I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, that's kind of cool though. He playing at BYU. I'm okay with that.
I love whenever you say that.
It's a funny expression. It really is a funny expression. You know, I like it. It's a good one. Daver's laughing.
Hey, that's all that matters. As long as we get a laugh out of Dave, that's all.
We love our buddy.
Okay, so we spoke a lot about the stuff going on. I want to give a little bit of love to UTEP basketball going on right now. They are 4-0 on the season. Brandon, what do you think about the UTEP basketball season thus far?
Congratulations for starting off 4-0. You've played a few cupcakes. You got to win the cupcake games. Let's see how they do come conference play. I'm not sold on them yet. Talk to me in January.
This right here, for those of you, like, before the show starts, Brandon sits down. We're talking about UTEP basketball. He's super excited about it. I give him one look, and now his entire answer changes.
No, I mean, it's great. Look, 4-0 is 4-0. Any way you look at it, you got to win the games that you're supposed to win. Their free throws were garbage, and they need to improve on that, even though they got the win yesterday. But you look, you're every team's going to have cupcakes in non-conference play. That's what they're for, right? How are they going to do in conference play? I mean, they have something going. If they can start off 8-0, 9-0, let's see how they do on the road against Oregon and stuff like that. When the real conference, let's see how they do in the Don Haskins Sun Bowl Invitational, stuff like that. But other than that, hey, it's at least a good start for them. It's a promising beginning for Coach Gold.
Josh Rojas bringing up that they do have Oregon scheduled in the season, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I like seeing the progress, right? But I'm not getting excited over 4-0 versus a bunch of nobody. Like it was me and you out there on the court, and I scored 50 somehow.
Yeah.
So
versus high school teams,
buckets,
JV teams.
Yep. Omar Thomas almost beat them with Socorro.
He did.
Tommy Carranza asking, should the Cowboys activate Trey Lance this week in case the Cowboys blow out Carolina? He can get into the game. Tommy wants to see what Trey Lance may bring. I'm the type of person, Brendan, where I always think you should have three quarterbacks active anyway because you have no idea what's going to happen. Look at what happened to San Francisco, right, where the emergency quarterback comes in and it has to be Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
That like you don't ever want to put someone in that position. So I'm always of the mindset you
I'm
got to
okay
have
with
three
it.
quarterbacks.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not against it.
Yeah, because you
Not
never know.
against it.
It's the NFL.
Yeah.
People get hurt.
Yeah.
So modern day cockfighting, and we love watching it.
Especially you. Oh, sorry.
I've only watched 2 cocks fight in my whole life.
Yeah, I bet you have.
You're a dick.
I love you. You're my buddy.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show. I want to give a little bit of love to our friends over here at Union Drafthouse, 730 Sunland Park Drive. It's been an absolute pleasure being on out here. It's cider day, so come on out here. $4 ciders, and then the $2 build your own pizza. We've already had a bunch of pizza. They've already gone through a whole pizza.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm thankful for
Yes.
having a schmuck like you in my life.
Yes, I'm thankful for having Daver in my
And
life.
I love Daver, and I love your family. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We love you. That was phenomenal.